Let me take you now to a national dialogue on promoting trade between Ghana and the rest of the world. And this has been organized by FBNBANK on its 25th anniversary. And we expect the After Secretary General, His Excellency Wamkele Meni, the Acting Nigeria High Commissioner, Head of Delegation of EU to Ghana, and many other persons to contribute to this conversation.
Just in our neighborhood. Actually, I think our governments generally within the ECOWAS sub-region need to do more. We have this ECOWAS protocol in place, but with my 2 months experience here in Ghana, I had complaints from Nigerian traders, not very big traders, but from some Nigerian traders about problems they encounter, checkpoints or customs checkpoints along the borders between Ghana, Nigeria, Togo, Benin. And then I also had complaints from Ghanaian traders going to Nigeria from Ghana or coming to Ghana from Nigeria. So I think our governments, the ECOWAS government, they need to do more on these customs restrictions at the border. Because it is only through this, no matter what we do, we have to develop the continent. Because Africa contributes just 1% of the global trade, just 1% of the global trade. And for us to contribute more to the global trade, we have to trade more with ourselves. We have to trade with the West African sub-region, and by extension with the Africa continent under the AFTA protocol. And then from there, we launch our export outside the country. That is where we'll have more competitiveness. So what I want to say is it's good for our governments to look at these restrictions more so that we will have more trade. Nigeria has a population of over 200 million people, and it is Nigeria and Ghana that constitute more than 70% of the GDP of the whole West African sub-region. When you look at that, when you look at the huge market we have in Nigeria, we cannot afford to neglect it. So I think we should do more about that. Thank you.
Your Excellency, just a quick follow-up. Nigeria being one of the biggest economies in ECOWAS and more of a leader in ECOWAS as well, what commitment are you taking, leadership, and taking the steps for others to follow, since you are making the call to governments in the region to do something? Maybe some would say that, let's start with Nigeria first, about its commitment to the protocols, and maybe others will follow.
Nigeria is doing a lot. Nigeria is one of the founders of ECOWAS. Nigeria is committed to the ECOWAS protocol, and Nigeria is playing a leading role in the implementation of the ECOWAS protocol. First of all, the Nigerian Investment Promotion Commission Act states that for anybody within the sub-region that is going to invest in Nigeria, he will have 100% liberalization. That is 100% ownership of his trade, of his investment in Nigeria. The government has also assured of the repatriation of capital from Nigeria. That is repatriation of profit and repatriation of capital in case of closing up or divestment from the investment. And the government has already put in place tax exemption for certain categories of industrial establishments established in Nigeria from the West African sub-region. That is in addition to the General ECOWAS Liberalization Treaty. And Nigeria has given members of the ECOWAS sub-region to approach the International Court for Arbitration in case of any conflict that arose between maybe the domestic market and the company. It has given the traders from the West African sub-region the recourse to international arbitration. So these are all some of the benefits, apart from tax exemption. And members of the West African sub-region that are investing in agriculture in Nigeria will have zero custom duty for import of agricultural materials for import in Nigeria, and then zero VAT for agriculture, for profit from agriculture. So these are all some of the benefits our citizens will derive when they invest in Nigeria. Thank you.
Ambassador Gambo Hamza, thank you so much for that assurance and commitment to us about you being committed to this whole ECOWAS protocols and trade as well. From there, let me go to Madam Diana Koncia, head of EU delegation to Ghana. And let's look at the current relation between Ghana and EU, another big trade bloc. And what are you doing to also promote trade between these two countries and two economic blocs, if I could say?
Hello?
Yeah.
Yes, this is better. Good morning, everybody, distinguished panelists, and hello, George. Good to see you again. And first of all, I would like to thank FBNBANK for the invitation, because I see that I'm here the only non-African in the panel, and in fact it's an honor for me, and I take it as a recognition to the role that the European Union has in Ghana as a trade partner. In fact, one thing that you don't see very often in the figures, and I was looking at the documents that you sent before this event, the European Union does not appear as a trade partner of Ghana, because probably the different countries are taken separately. And it does not reflect the weight that we have. But in fact, the European Union was last year the second trade partner of Ghana as a bloc, and I'm talking about the European Union already without the UK. First import partner and second export partner. And in fact, one other thing that I would like to highlight, that the trade with the European Union is slightly different from the trade that Ghana has with the other partners. Some of the panelists have already mentioned the fact that most of Ghana's trade is outside the continent, which is true. And also most of Ghana's trade is oil and gold and other commodity, including cocoa beans. When you see the trade partner with Europe, it is in fact dominated by cocoa products. They constitute about 50% of the exports of Ghana to the EU, but half of the value of these exports is in fact processed products. So it's not cocoa beans, but products that have been transformed in the countries, thanks mainly to European Union investment, and that therefore create jobs in manufacturing. And I want to say this because it is important, because I think that Ghana is now rightly focused on the African market with the continental FTA, but has to remember the nature of the trade with Europe, the fact that Europe is the first importer of food in the world and is the first importer from developing country also, and the first importer from Africa. So it is huge. It is a huge potential that now is fully developing with the implementation of the EPA. It's the only market that gives Ghana completely free access, duty-free, quota-free, thanks to the EPA. The EPA is in force since 2016, but the free access was already since 2007. So it's an open market which is there, I wouldn't say up for grabs, because there is a big competition and it's not an easy market to penetrate because of the famous trade barriers and sanitary and phytosanitary requirements. But it is an open market. Now the question that I would like to put on the table today is how can Ghana export more to the European Union, and how can we exploit to the maximum the synergies that now are there between Ghana's agreements with the rest of the world and the continental FTA. The fact of having already an agreement with the European Union means that Ghanaian companies already have had some support to increase their competitiveness. The European Union is implementing the EPA accompanying measures, as mentioned by my friend Anthony, that is a great expert on the matter. And in fact, we work already with JEPA, we work with AGI, with one of our programs, we work with the ministry, and we have a program which is called WACOMP, West Africa Competitiveness, which we implement in Ghana and in other countries, that is looking at some specific value chains and how to enhance their competitiveness. Once they are competitive for the Europe market, they can also be competitive for the African market. And this is something that we have to look at very closely to see how the support that the EU is giving to the continental FTA, we have set aside 74 million euros, in fact, to support the negotiation and implementation of the continental FTA, and the support that we give to the EPA can work together. However, the EU support can only do so much. The CEO of AGI has rightly pointed at some of the constraints that are preventing Ghanaian companies from being more competitive, and I agree completely with you. There are the costs like the energy. And there is the problem of access to capital, and I'm happy to be here, of course, hosted by a bank. This is something that the European Union is looking at very closely. In our future cooperation with Ghana, there will be a big component of support to private sector, and a part of it is also looking specifically at access of capital. The idea behind it is that the investment in many countries, not only Ghana, but it would say in Africa or Middle East, is blocked by the fact that the private sector, both domestic and foreign, and the banks themselves have a very, very high perception of risks, particularly for small and medium enterprises. Together with the European development financial institutions, the European Investment Bank and the Development Bank of the European banks of the European member states, we are looking at how to de-risk investment in developing countries so that the potential, the full potential for investment and for economic development can be unlocked. Therefore, I would be very happy to be able to follow up with you, to get in touch and to discuss how we can work with your bank. We are doing it also with other banks, how these financial products that are being developed in Europe can be used by the local banks as an incentive to lend more, particularly to small and medium enterprises. We are not only looking at that, we are only looking at how to unlock investment in infrastructure, for example, in renewable energy that, apart from being beneficial for climate change, they should also reduce the cost of energy in Ghana. So this is something that we have started already a couple of years ago. In fact, in 2019, we had a business forum where we put some of these banks in contact with directly with the companies established in Ghana. And this work has been going on a little bit under the radar, if you want, also because of COVID, but now it's going to be continued in full swing. We really need to see how we can address the constraints to investment, to competitiveness, to increase the production of exportable goods. Because the basis of trade, it's banal to say, but if you want to trade, you have to have something to produce. And I think that this is why intra-African trade is historically so low, because there aren't many products to be traded. If we want to increase trade, we have to industrialize. If you want to industrialize, we have to invest. If we want to invest, we have to address the barriers. This is the kind of reasoning that we're doing. So we are moving from the trade-related assistance, we are moving from supporting existing companies to become more competitive, which is the work that we are already doing. We are moving towards increasing investment, increasing exportable offer, creating the basis for trade. Then we will have to continue to address the barriers to trade. So we will have to continue to address customs issues and the border issues that were indicated by His Excellency the ambassadors. These issues need to be tackled. The non-tariff barriers need to be tackled. But we need to create a competitive and attractive basket of products that can be exported from Ghana to Africa and from Ghana to the European Union. So that's what we're looking at, and I will be able, as a European Union delegation, even if myself, I will be leaving the country soon, but I hope that the delegation, and I count on the delegation to continue to work with all of you to improve to improve Ghana's exportable offer and to improve the competitiveness of the Ghanaian companies.
Madam Consiel, just a quick one as well. I mean, a year wouldn't pass without we hearing from the European Union that there are restrictions on fruit exports, fish, and recently it was this money laundering as well. For you, what is the biggest challenge for Ghanaian industries in taking advantage of the potential that is out there? Is it standardization or the tariff issues or the barriers? What is the problem? And I'll come to you, AGI, as well. For you, do you think that that is your biggest challenge in producing, not just for the local market, but they say think global but act local? How do we address them? Madam Akonsian, what is the problem? Is it the standardization so that they would be able to take full advantage of the market and what it presents?
Well, for me, I've worked more than 20 years in international trade. There are two different sets of problems. One of the problems is indeed the standards, the requirements of the market. So as I said, typically the food safety standards, the plant health standards, but also the standards that can be about, I don't know, toys or electricity or all the rules that are enforced in the European Union to protect consumers. And again, the European Union, as the biggest importer of food particularly, it has to look at the safety of the food. It is very important that we give reassurance to the consumers that the food is safe and they can continue to consume it. This is one aspect. But there is another aspect, I think, which is more purely commercial. It's producing a product that the market wants. So not only a product of intrinsic quality, but a product which is nicely packaged and that corresponds to the taste of the European or for that matter, the American consumers. This is a commercial problem on which the traditional trade-related assistance, like helping the companies to comply with the requirements, does not necessarily work, and it's more of a question of putting the local companies in touch with the market counterparts on the other side and studying with them products that can work. And this is one of the things that we're also trying to do with this business linkages program that we have with AGI. But I think AGI is better positioned to explain the difficulties that we have in exporting to the European market. Mine is a perspective coming more in an abstract way from sitting in the Department of Trade for many, many years and looking at the difficulties that the different countries have. But normally the difficulties are the same in Ghana like in the other developing countries. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Akonsia. This is the FBN 25 National Trade Forum, where we are looking at promoting trade between Ghana and the rest of the world. This program is live on Joy 99.7 FM and also on the JoyNews channel on Multi TV. It is also live on the FBN Ghana Facebook page, and all these channels, we are not just reaching people here, but across the world and also through our various social media handles. Mr. Chuma Kabwa, we were talking about standardization and meeting the required standard, and it's year on, and it comes on almost every year where restrictions have been put on this, goods have been seized at this port. What is the problem that we can't get over this if we talk about trading and taking advantage of all these programs out there?
Well, thank you very much once again. Yes, standards are of critical importance because every country has its own standards. And let me even make a quick reference to the Continental Free Trade Agreement that we have. which is the fact that you can now export duty-free, quota-free to other African countries. And I keep saying that countries have no choice. They are obliged to open their markets for you under the CFTA. However, if you don't meet their standards, they will prevent entry. And therefore, the fact that you have duty-free, quota-free access does not mean that you can export to those markets. Every country has its standards. When it comes to the European Union, we have similar situations. They have their standards, and you must meet it. And in some instances, what is even more difficult is that the national standards will allow you to enter, but there are private standards as well. And that even makes it more restrictive. When you enter the European market, if, for example, it is pineapple, you may have gone through all the processes, it's certified that the goods is good, the product is meeting the standards, but the shop there that is taking your product wants it in a particular size. So even once you are meeting the general national requirements, the size will have to be taken into account. And the shop will say, fine, the quality is good, but I'm not accepting it in my shop like because I can't properly
the Sainsbury's and the rest.
So, Sainsbury's and the rest. So some of these restraints, sometimes we think are just way too difficult for our people to meet. But having said that, a key part of standards is also capacity. If you don't have big capacity to produce at certain volume, to reduce cost per unit and make you competitive, the market is there, but you still cannot access it. So that's another thing. The other aspect of it is that standards is also quite expensive. Meeting standards means you must go through certain quality processes, and sometimes our people have difficulty. So these are all part of it. But as for the knowledge about the standards, I think that with the support we are receiving from European Union and other agencies, we are getting the knowledge out there. Our people are getting to know what the standards are, what the requirements are, what the processes are. But the challenge is actually being able to go through this process, expanding, and even sometimes the market access. Who is buying from you? Individual enterprises have difficulty going out there and be looking for market. That's the role of the Ghana Export Promotion Authority and the embassies abroad. They are doing some of it, but I think these are the areas we need to explore more. Who buys from you? How do you get to know who buys from you? Who guarantees that when you ship, the goods will be paid? And most agents will, of course, will ensure that you have to send the goods in advance before they pay you, all kinds of requirements. These are some of the challenges that we face. Mind you, most of our enterprises are SMEs. For the big companies, they have the capacity to take advantage. They can have export manager who can travel around the world and be exploring these markets. For the small companies, it is not that easy. And that's why we've been talking of possible aggregation of goods. So that if you have a major exporter who can actually buy from the small enterprises, make sure that they meet the standards, put them together, and then the export business is somebody else's business from the producer. Those are the things that we need to look out for. But these are the challenges that our people are confronted with, and that's the reason why they are unable to take full advantage of those markets. This is not to say that we shouldn't be able to overcome them. I think as we work harder and harder, we should be able to surmount some of these challenges.
I'll come to Mr. Befi for what government is doing this, but Mr. Chumakwa, is it also a problem that most of your industries are trying to set a different standards locally? We've talked about buying made in Ghana goods. Yes, people want to buy made in Ghana goods, but if the quality locally is not good, people won't buy it. So does it mean that if we fix the local standardization issue, maybe it could meet every market everywhere?
Well, I don't think that made in Ghana goods are not of good quality and they are not of standards that are international. But I must also admit that it's not every made in Ghana good that can also meet the international standards. Let's face it. Some of them are infant industries or companies who are now coming up and they are learning in the process. But there are a good number of companies here that are producing goods that have ISO certification. And that means that they're actually meeting international standards. So some of them are doing it and they are really exporting. The other challenge that I mentioned, I think they still stand, that access to the market, getting the right financing models, getting the right people to export to, and so on and so forth. But it's not that we are setting our own standards, which is different from the international standards. Standards are standards. If it's good, it's a product and it has meet a certain quality, it must meet it. So we have no choice than to meet those standards. And indeed, even when we are promoting exports, we don't bring every producer and trying to push all of them to export. We look for those who have the zeal, the enthusiasm, the capacity, the interest. and making the effort to meet those standards. And I think there are quite a number of them who are meeting it. And
let me move quickly to Mr. Anthony Befian. What is government doing in this direction? I believe that you are not that excited anytime you hear the European Union raising issues about certain goods not meeting certain standards. They are putting some restrictions on some goods. The recent one was fish, there have been vegetables and all those things. What is government doing in this direction?
Okay. Thank you once again. As you might have heard from the CEO of AGI and others, government is aware of these challenges. And we have done a lot of investigation into it. And we are aware that most of the time, the challenge of not meeting standard is not the value-added products, but is the primary agri products, because the EU at times may be insisting of international best farming practices, especially for the horticulture, as you said. In fact, for the fish, the smoked fish, initially the challenge was there, but with assistance from EU, Ghana Standards Authority trained some fishmongers, and now they're able to meet the standard. And for the horticulture and other agri-products also, now the Plant Protection and Regulatory Services Directorate of MOFA have also started training some horticulture exporters, because initially some of them, instead of exporting these horticultural products from their farms, at times when they are not able to meet the quantity, some will just go to maybe Agogloshi or some other place, and those led into the rejection rate. But now the PPRSD is supporting them. So it is only those who have been certified, putting in good farming practices that are doing. So you realize that now the rejection rate has actually gone down. And so with these 1D, 1F initiatives, and then the strategic anchor in these initiatives, the government is ensuring that now you put up your industry, you meet all the appropriate standards so that you can sell both for domestic consumption and then export. So gradually, these issues are being addressed, and then it will enhance our export tremendously. There are also instances where initially for the industries and then the primary producers also, they were having some red tapeism before they meet those standards. But now the Ghana Standards Authority, the Food and Drugs Authority, PPRSD and others have been proactive. Sometimes nowadays they have even reduced some of the processing fees and others just to support the industry. So now we can say with confidence that those who are exporting are meeting the standard, and for the past 2 years, the rejection rate has actually gone down drastically.
Thank you very much, Mr. Anthony Befian. Let me get to Mr. Victor Santi, MD of FBNBANK Ghana. You said that money makes the world go round, but is it always money in this case? And what other things can FBNBANK Ghana do to support these budding industries out there, budding entrepreneurs, in taking advantage of these big markets out there?
Yeah, I think
Can you use the other mic? Yes, sorry.
Yeah. So money is not everything, but money is important because, like I said, we need the working capital to get things going. So at the primary level, you need the financial support from your bank. But there's also destination support, and that's when sometimes regional banks, regional players, corridor players are helpful. Speaking specifically for my bank, I mean, we have presence in quite a significant number of the countries. So typically, if you want to go into another country like, let's say, Guinea or let's say Congo and so on, and you have a bank with presence there, it helps. So that is also important. So these are some things that we can do. Of course, having specific desk and specialized relationship people who can navigate some of these things are crucial. And therefore, what we do is also try to make sure the people we deal with are people who have the knowledge and expertise to be able to handhold you on your journey. We also collaborate with agencies and offer thought leadership platforms like these. And I mean, what better way to address these issues than to have an EU person, ministry person, AGI person, a regional player from an ambassador, and the customs person like this. So, and that is why we have this specific thought leadership to say that let's bring all the players in here, let's discuss, let's judge, let's understand where the pinpoints are so that we can iron them out when we go out there. So we hope fora like this will bring the issues out. And today already we have listened to quite a number of things. We know some of the things that worry our friend from customs. We know some of the things that the ministry is doing. We know what the EU has said about some of the standardization issues. AGI, for example, has spoken about cost of finance, which is always a pet discussion from primary producers. Has also discussed issues around over-standardization. I've heard that some of that happened where the goalpost is shifted, and I think it's one of the things that they see a lot where once you are finished, the standards change. And I know people who have crumbled under inspection because regulation is crucial in some of the markets that we go. We have the pseudo politicians also speak to us about some of the things we need to do around barriers to entry in terms of fiscal barriers and if you like, other kinds of barriers. So we distill these things and then bring them into one area of a desk and help our people. So what we say is that anybody planning, for example, to take advantage of Africa and all of that must speak to banks who have already established in the corridors. It's important. And we'll give you the finance, we'll give you the facilitation in terms of making sure the destination hub is there. But crucially, we also need the agencies of especially government to also play their part in terms of hand-holding these people, in terms of explaining to them. Because even though a lot of discussion is going on around Africa and so on, sometimes I worry that people are not taking their time to deep dive, to understand the nuances before, and sooner than later, we'll have issues where people have not actually looked at the small print, they have looked at the bigger picture, and then try to go into journeys that may end up nowhere, and then the blame game will start again about government didn't do this, banks didn't do this, and so on. So it is important that people take their time to understand every little bit of it, because there will be little things like, for example, Chumakoba said today that there are many levels of standard. You can come in quota free, you can come in everything free, but my standard is my standard. So you don't just get up and export and then got caught in such a fine detail like a standard has not been met. And then there's national standard and local standard, the person picking from you. And that's why documentation is key. And that's why we want people to establish LCs around these exports. So there's no ambiguity. And your bank comes in and says that, look, document every single aspect of this journey. Don't leave anything to chance, because when you are caught, you'll be left holding the bad end of the deal. And that is when, and there again, I come to the aspect where I say small, medium enterprises should invest a little more in capacity. We are not saying employ, like Mr. Chumakowa said, the larger companies have export people who can go around and bring in information. So we are not saying employ somebody to do that, but we are saying find somebody who can marginally do it for you, so that when aggregation comes into play, we are using these people to help us to make sure we navigate that nuanced aspect of it, because people will be caught if they don't get these things sorted properly.
So Santi, just a quick follow-up as well. You spoke about money not being everything, but money is everything as well. What are some of your biggest challenges as a bank, moving away from the bottom line and returns to shareholders and all those things? The CSR bit about it, that you want to support businesses out there, but what are the biggest challenges? You looked at the proposal, it's good, you want to support this lady, but there are certain things that are making it difficult. Is it the clearance issues? Is it the customs issues? Or what are the biggest hedges in your quest to support industries and small businesses to take advantage of this trade thing you're talking about?
So everybody has a plan until they are hit. So sometimes people have a well-laid plan, and then banks are okay when there's a legitimate reason why something didn't happen. In fact, we help you, and my CRO sitting next to you will tell you that we spend quite a bit of time restructuring, because we know the world is not black and white, where once you have dreamed, it will come to that. So it is not, our issue is not that you may potentially fail, but our issue is that you must at least cover all the angles before you start the process. One other thing that we find happening is that entrepreneurs are, by their nature, always in a hurry to go to the next level. They don't wait to bake properly. They don't wait to marinate. They don't wait to make sure they have learned the ropes. They always want to see themselves as the biggest. I mean, it's okay to aspire to be a Dangote, but you have to start from somewhere, and you have to go through the mill, because if you are caught big. Remember, about 4 out of 5 new initiatives fail. The failure rate is slow. It's the big ones that we know. When we talk about the big guys who did this, who did that, who went to this journey, became big, and everybody accuses banks of not supporting. For every Jack Ma or whatever you hear of, there are 1,000 you know who didn't come up that happened. So that's the problem. So we just have to go on the curve carefully. We will get there, but we must go through. So those are some of the things when people try to jump the necessary steps, because they are in a hurry to be big boys and big girls, for that matter.
Thank you very much.
That's one of the key things.
Thank you very much, Mr. Santi. This is the FBN 25 National Trade Forum, and it's live on Joy 99.7 FM, and also on the JoyNews channel, on Multi TV, and also on FBN Ghana Facebook page. Let's look at how we can promote trade between Ghana and the rest of the world. Let me go to Ambassador Gambo Hamza, and after may change things for us going forward in terms of the Ghana-Nigeria-ECOWAS relations. And you've always called us your other big brothers or small brothers or partners. I mean, now that AFTA is in, and will things still be the same? And also, how are you working to ensure that even though there's AFTA, that strong partnership will still be there, and also take away all those bottlenecks for us to really realize that partnership that you're looking forward to?
So you are talking about what Nigeria is doing towards the actualization of AFTA? Huh?
Yes. Sir.
Yes. Nigeria is doing a lot. First of all, Nigeria is the largest contributor to both ECOWAS and AFTA, and Nigeria, as I told you earlier, is committed to all these protocols, the AFTA protocol and what have you. And the Nigerian market is open. Since we are talking about Ghana, let me just give an illustration of Ghana. The Nigerian market is open to Ghanaian products. In the spirit of this assessment, could go to Nigeria and establish. There are opportunities, a lot of opportunities for Ghanaian businesses in Nigeria. Ghanaian businessmen could go to Nigeria and establish, for instance, chocolate factories. The Ghanaians have an advantage over that. I just want to give you an illustration. This is Ghanaian chocolate, and this is my favorite.
And this is the Nigerian market as we speak right now?
Yeah, it is in the Nigerian market. This is my favorite. Yes, this is my favorite. Ghanaians are doing good in this respect. They are doing very well in this respect. So the Nigerian government is encouraging them to go and establish the factories, and there are incentives attached to that, like tax relief and some waivers. And when Ghanaians go to Nigeria to establish, the government has some other additional incentives, which it will give to Ghanaian traders when they go and invest in Nigeria. And another opportunity which Ghanaian traders have in Nigeria At this point, I'm talking about services. We have a very big market for education in Nigeria. We have quite a number of Ghanaian schools in Nigeria. Ghanaians can go to Nigeria and establish educational institutions. They are very much welcome. And the Ghanaian schools will have in Nigeria will attest to you that they are very welcome, that they are facing no impediments, no bottleneck in that respect. The other time I was at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology in Kumasi, and they were telling me the number of Nigerians we have in the university. I was astonished. So I invited them, why not go to Nigeria and establish a campus? It is through these things that through this after, these are the ways the Nigerian government is encouraging the actualization of after. And one of the assignments given to me when I was coming was to meet with the Ghanaian traders. Let us have investment on both sides. Let Nigerians come and invest in Ghana. Let Ghanaians go and invest in Nigeria. That is how we go about the AFTA protocol. So we have, Nigeria is very much open to that. Tax exemption and a lot of relief that is there when you invest in Nigeria.
You talked about the chocolate. I don't know whether you know Casa Precon. It's also in Nigeria, we understand as well, and Enterprise Life. I don't know how they're also doing as well, if you have any data on that one. These Ghanaian companies.
Yeah, but that was niche cuckoo.
Yeah. But let me come to the official from Customs. And after has opened our borders, do these Ghanaian businesses also understand about the tax element and complement that comes with this whole program as well? So you have to have more education on that line as well.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Moderator. There's need for more sensitization. We have done some form of sensitization on the AFTA and its requirements. We have AFTA, but we have requirements. And all other free trade agreements that have been mentioned, the AGOA, the IEPA, the Ghana-UK partnership agreements, and all other free trade agreements that we have entered into have various requirements. And it's necessary for our economic operators to be conversant with these requirements. And there are documentations, like the MD mentioned. Documentation is very important. Our economic operators will have to be very conversant with the documentations that goes with some of these agreements. Sometimes people hear free trade, so they think everything is free. It's not. You know, we have documentary requirements, and then we have what we call rules that govern these agreements. You need to know the documentary requirements, and you need to know the rules governing the agreement. Like the AFTA has rules. When you are trading in goods, the rules of origin come in. Here we are using what we call product-specific rule. The economic operators will have to be conversant with this product-specific rule. And it's not a 90% liberalization. It's 100% liberalization. It's 90%. So you have to know what offers have been made and what offers we have also made from the various countries. So there's need for systematic education. Fortunately, let me tell our economic operators that our customs operating system, the ICOPS, we have uploaded information there. So when they go to the external portal, they will get the information relating to the requirements on the AFTA. Very soon, like the minister's representative mentioned, we may start with the IEPA as well, and the information will be put there as well for the economic operators to be conversant with the requirements and the rules. The rules and the requirements are very, very important. And Mr. Akwaba, the CEO, mentioned of checks. You see, sometimes that's the reason for some of these checks. We ought to ensure that you have met the requirements. If you don't have the necessary documentations and have met the necessary requirements, then you don't benefit. These are some of the issues that we'll have to deal with. We still need more education, though I'm sure other activities are coming up for us to educate the stakeholders on some of these requirements.
Let me bring in Mr. Anthony Befi, and after, if I'm right, it's more of dropping all the barriers and promoting trade. When it comes to Ghana, where do we draw the line between not being too protective as an economy and also being a dumping ground, since the fear is that we may not be able to take the full advantage of what AFTA brings? Where do we draw the lines in opening our markets for a reciprocal trade agreement or reciprocal trade and also not end up being a dumping ground?
For the AFTA, I can say with all the confidence that it's going to be the game changer for Ghana. And I'm saying this because when you look at the Ghana exports with to the rest of Africa, vis-a-vis our imports, for the past 10 years, it's been very positive, and the gap is wide. And even the advantage is that it's the value-added products that are in hot demand and not the primary products. So for us, we see AFTA as being complementary to the ETLS, that's the ECOWAS Trade Liberalization Scheme, because the AFTA will provide initial 90% tariff liberalization, then later 7% will be added to make it 97%. But for the ETLS, it is now 100%. So some of the products that you will not be able to export to the rest of Africa, you can easily export it to the ECOWAS market. So that is the good thing about it. And as some of the panelists have said, you have to play by the rules. And the good thing about the AFTA is that some of the challenges that we are facing under the ETLS, like no comprehensive dispute settlement mechanism, in the case of the AFTA, we have this protocol on dispute settlement. So that is going to address it. And there are special annexes like trade facilitation to ensure that these numerous barriers across borders are handled. So we believe that the AFTA will make it more open and transparent for us to make progress. And then for Ghana, we also have the confidence that we have all the institutions who are to deal with standards or what we call ensure fair trade also in place. For example, in Ghana now, since 2016, we have the Ghana International Trade Commission. That is to ensure fair trading among our other partners. And they are doing quite well. So in case there is anything like flooding of the market and injury, they can take measures with anti-dumping duties or countervailing duties or safeguards. So we believe that everything is in shape to encourage trade, boost intra-African trade, boost intra-West African trade. But then when unfair trade practices are also coming into shape, then they will be in a position to that. So everything is on course. And then just to also assure the private sector, we have also realized that this AFTA and then the ETLS can also support the SMEs. So the Ghana Export Promotion Authority, under the new export development strategy, are going to consolidate some of the products that they can help the SMEs to export to the African continent and even to Europe and other areas. So the opportunities are there, and we are sure things will be in good shape.
Thank you very much, Mr. Befi. This is the FBNBANK Ghana at 25 National Trade Forum as we look at promoting trade between Ghana and the rest of the world. This program is live on Joy 99.7 FM and also on the Joy News channel on Multi TV and the FBN Ghana Facebook page. I've just less than 10 minutes to go off the Joy radio channel and also the Joy News TV channel. So I'll try but we'll still go ahead with the discussion here at Labadi Beach Hotel. Do just a quick wrap and after, since we're talking about after and AGI, 2 minutes as you wrap up on these channels, and then we'll continue in here. After, for you, you think that we've taken full advantage of it? Because there are still businesses out there who are saying that they don't know about it. A quick 2 minutes on that one, please.
Thank you. I wouldn't say we've taken full advantage of it, but we know the potential, and some are already working towards it. Indeed, before, after, we were already exporting to Africa and other parts of West Africa. But our biggest destination is still within the West Africa sub-region, so we need to find a way of entering the other parts of Africa in a more stronger way. The other aspect is that, as I said, others are also strategizing to enter our markets. And our analysis which shows that we are not necessarily the best country in terms of competitiveness. So the likes of Egypt, South Africa, Morocco, Kenya, and the rest seem to be advanced in a lot of ways. And therefore, if we want to take full advantage of AFTA, we must also be mindful of these big players that are a threat to us. And at the end of the day, it's about competition. So we need to strategize more and be able to take this market. In doing so, we also need to identify the products. And indeed, studies have also shown which products that we seem to have stronger competitive advantage in. And we are expecting that our companies producing those products would expand and really push those products into the markets. And I think with all that, we should be able to gain a good grasp of the market.
Let me take a quick comment from Madam Akonsia. I mean, after it's said as one of the biggest trading bloc, EU, quite excited by it, or maybe now there's a bigger competitor for you.
Thank you. We are very excited by the fact that finally Africa is going to open its markets among themselves, and we think that this is also going to go hand in hand with opening its markets for the world. We see the continental FTA as, in fact, as a huge opportunity, first and foremost for the Africans themselves, of course, but also for the European companies that are already present on the continent or that would like to establish themselves on the continent. I have spoken to European companies here that have established a commercial presence, and they are looking, they are deciding whether they want to establish also manufacturing capacity. One of the obstacles that they see is the lack of regional integration. Ghana doesn't really give access to a bigger market. Well, with the continental integration, this problem should be resolved. It seems that it has not been possible to resolve it at regional level for various reasons, but I think now there is really the political commitment in Africa to seriously create a wider space. And in this wider space, the best will be able to compete. And we consider that European Union businesses are the best because they have the right products, and also because many of them already know a lot of African markets, and they can bring authentic development with Africa by partnering with local businesses. The European companies come to stay, they come with long-term investments, they create jobs, and they create real partnership with the countries where they install themselves and with the company that they work together with. They create local jobs, they buy local, they respect the local content rules, and with this they will be able to bring development. So I am optimistic, maybe for the first time after working a lot to try and support regional integration processes, because there is a momentum and a political will that perhaps has not been strong enough to really make the previous experiences a success. So I wish AFTA all the best, and I am looking forward to working more with our partners here to make it happen. Thank you.
Mr. Santi, I mean, you've talked about after. Now, the plate is bigger, the market is bigger, the floor is bigger. Do we have the financial muscle using your regional presence to support Ghanaian businesses?
Absolutely.
To take advantage of this market?
Absolutely.
Oh, you've already even started answering the question. Go ahead,
Absolutely, we do. We are ready. And like I said, I think very key things have been said between Chuma Kwabwa and Diana. First of all, I'm happy to hear it's not a zero-sum game. And I think that's what we should be looking at. Africa can trade by itself and for itself and make sure we grow the pie. The world curve comes in, creates more, and therefore EU probably will be beneficiaries as well, not necessarily that we are taking from them. We've always complained that we are not doing enough trade within Africa. We have a very good opportunity, and I think we should take advantage of it now and ensure that we use this very well. It seems to me there's a very good framework, but we all know what happens with execution. So it's execution, and I think the ministry and the AGI should really work together. The banks are ready. We'll provide our part of it, be it finance, be it documentation, facilitation, be it the channels and the systems that we need. We are ready, and let's all work together to make sure AFTA gives us what it says it will. We are looking at 1.2 billion people, 3 trillion of trade, and this is an opportunity we shouldn't allow to go waste.
So more businesses can be knocking at your doors?
More businesses coming to the whole nation.
Yeah. Okay, but what about FBN as well?
Everybody, yes, including
the finances
including
for
the
us.
bank, yes.
Okay, let me come to Ambassador. I mean, quick 2 minutes on that one since we'll be going off these platforms. Nigeria, do we get the commitment from you that you will do your part to make after work? You can speak into the mic, sir, yeah.
Yes. I want to say once again that Nigeria is committed to making after work. And with this, the Nigerian government will collaborate with other West African leaders to make sure that the bottlenecks are removed for free trade, especially in the West African sub-region and beyond, in the spirit of the AFTA and the ECOWAS protocol. But let me quickly make an appeal to the Ghanaian government. That is just an appeal so that we could all key into the implementation of this AFTA. I'm just appealing to the Ghanaian government to look into their land tenure system, and the issue of immigration residence permit. It's just an appeal. I'm not trying to. Okay. I'm just making an appeal so as to make after work properly. I also want to appeal to the Ghanaian government to collaborate with other heads of state so that we remove these bottlenecks at the regional level. Lastly, I want to appeal to all of us to please make after work. There's a saying which says, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ambassador. And Mr. Befi, I'll give you just a minute on after, because we had AGUA. We've had several trade agreements. Should we be measured with our expectations, or listen, this is the next big thing for Ghanaian businesses?
Thank you very much for this opportunity. For the AGUA, I will say all arrangements are in place. In fact, now we have this AGUA framework and implementation strategy, and already we have identified more than 100 Ghanaian companies who have already been exporting to the African market, potential ones that can export. And then we even met them about 3 weeks ago at the International Conference Center to discuss with them how they can take advantage of them. And the centralizations are ongoing. So we believe that with the over 150 already companies exporting to the African market, the potential ones and others that we have initially contacted, we are confident that they are going to take advantage of it and then to boost our intra-African trade.
Thank you so much.
And then the banks can also come in to support. In fact, most of the challenges that they mentioned, like the land tenure system, the cost of credit, and even the energy, the government is doing something about it. You find out that under the 1D, one factory, for example, we know that the interest rate is around 20%. The government normally takes half of it, just to cushion, to enable people go into it. And then under some FBNBANK financial support too, we help them acquire new equipment to boost their industrial productivity.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bayfi. And this is the FBN at 25 National Trade Forum, coming to you live from the Labadi Beach Hotel as you look at how can we promote trade between Ghana and the rest of the world. This program was live on Joy 99.7 FM and the JoyNews channel on Multi TV, and also on the FBN Ghana Facebook page. Right now, we'll go out the Joy 99.7 FM platform and also the JoyNews, but still the discussion goes on here at the Labadi Beach Hotel. And also, a round of applause to our wonderful audience here.